Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Breath of Fiction. My name is Radical, otherwise known as Just Desserts, and I'm joined by my fellow companions, otherwise known as.
DCC rules. I'm only going to be here for a short time. I'm actually still working, but I'm hiding in the office and doing shit on the computer so I can get away with it.
That's fine.
Then there's me. This is 789. I'm here, but I'll be here the whole time, I guess.
Yeah, and we also have Get Snacked, otherwise known as Gajima, but she is currently away from the mic, or actually AFK in AFM. Two kinds. But anyways, so today we are going to be
Cyber.
today we're going to be back with the second half, possibly maybe the second part out of three, but we'll see how it goes. But the second half of the Cyberpunk Au. Ooh, Cyberpunk, let's go. All right, so where we last left off, we were talking about blood demon arts a little bit, but then we were trying to get into what the upper moons would control in this shadowy cabal of the demons taking control of a city in the cyberpunk universe. So we want to talk about now, I think, is how would the Slayers meet? How would the Slayers go about their business? Because this is a cyberpunk. Technology, cameras, everything is everywhere. And I'm pretty sure that people are going to notice more easily compared to, say, back in the day when they could deny everything without tech. So how do you think these battles, if you will, how do you think that these encounters between Slayers, these meetings, anything, like, going to Oya Kata-sama's mansion, how do you think they're going to play out?
I feel like one of the ways people communicate would be like through graffiti and stuff. I feel like that's a bit of a trope, but I feel like it makes sense. Because, I mean, especially if you're using things like QR codes, it's relatively simple to hide information in a design. And if people don't know what they're looking for, if they don't have the cipher, if you will, then how are they supposed to know what the hell they're looking at?
Hmm. Okay. So there'd be like the difference. It would be the graffiti would be like the Kasugai crows, but a little bit different.
Yeah, that could even be, one of their big graffiti symbols that they use to kind of like, notify people is like the crow.
Yeah,
And you
but
see that, you're like,
I think
oh,
it's
this
safe
is
to say
Slayer shit.
that but I think it's safe to say that the crow would be the symbol, and maybe the communication devices have the term like crow, like eyes of the crow, or like where,
Yeah,
or like mouth of the crow, something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but
yeah, something along those lines.
yeah, it's symbolically, but they wouldn't use animals. They have the cutting edge cyberpunk communication. There's no way. Unless it's a weird flex out in the Badlands, like where there is no technology. I'm just going off of the Cyberpunk 2077, which was a terrible launch. I still can't believe how badly it screwed up. But anyway, so that's what they would communicate. So, what do you think would be the case with Tanjiro and his family encountering Muzan? Like, do you think he's making them some sort of a run? Because let's be honest, in the cyberpunk universe, there's no real like safe, clean, easy way out of doing anything. Everything is all very punkish.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, look,
I
she's
mean,
back. We started the recording, so don't if you get anything. It's fine. But right
all
now,
right.
right now we're trying to talk about what do you think the event of Tanjiro being involved in Demon Slayer. So we know his family gets in canon. Muzan comes. He demonifies Nezuko, slaughters everyone else, and Tanjiro went down to self hole. How would this play out in a cyberpunk universe? Because let's be honest, a lot of the honesty we see in Tanjiro would probably have to be a bit modified because cyberpunk is inherently very dirty as itself.
He tries to be better than he tries, but like Nezuko's like, it's okay, you're doing this for the fam. But he feels guilty sometimes that he has to do dirty work because he's naturally not that kind of person, but he kind of accepts that he has to do this to keep his family afloat. Like, this is a survival situation, and you gotta do what you gotta do.
So do we think like the family business, or rather his family, is like we don't have to say it's been for generations because it's cyberpunk. We could say something along the lines of his family used to be involved with energy production, and now Tanjiro's family makes a living by like serving as runners for energy commissions and like whatnot, or rather they're involved in like
Yeah.
nuclear power smuggling or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like they smuggle uranium. Okay, that would be cool.
All right, and then the idea is Tanjiro goes to on one of his runs. His father's passed away already, like normal, but then for whatever reason, Muzan comes out into the Badlands because he's searching for something. It doesn't have to be the Buspada Italy because we think because Cyberpunk probably has the whole cyber medical thing down. But either way, things happen like in canon, and then Tanjiro has to go to the city itself. So now he has to dive into the belly of the beast. And how would the whole idea of this play out?
Hmm. Well, alright, Muzan turns Nezuko. Okay. Tanjiro's like, oh shit, I need to turn her back, but she's not attacking. Wait, how would Gyu get sent to the scene, first of all?
Well, they could go because remember we established that in a cyberpunk universe, they would probably have some sort of communication and lifeline from the cameras and what's going on. So they
Yeah.
probably would have noticed that something was leaving the city and causing a chain of like destruction around. So then Giyu gets sent out to check it out, and then he meets Tanjiro in the meantime. But then Giyu has to like, but Giyu's like a punkish now, and he like I can imagine him. He's like, and then
Punk Gyu.
yeah, Punk Giyu, Cyberpunk Giyu, and he at the end of the day he gives like Tanjiro a card or pass or something, and tells him to go find a gatekeeper
What?
named or a smuggler named Urokodaki to smuggle him into Night City or the city where the cyberpunk is going to play out.
Yeah, Night City, where they're...
I just ripped that from the Cyberpunk game. Oh my god, I feel bad now.
Oh, it's okay. Night City, more like Nightlife City, am I right?
So it wouldn't be able to communicate by phone, right? Because the phone systems would be tapped by Muzan, his big company or something.
I think what they would do is they have a direct like line of communication. So the Slayers would probably try to use communications which are using their own private servers, which are only connected with each other.
Yeah.
So they would probably do that, but at the same time, it is possible in Cyberpunk to net run, which is to scan for external networks from the main one. So the Slayers are probably having to equip to like either change codes, change frequencies, change servers every so often because Muzan may end up like finding out that hey, it exists. But all intents and purposes, it's private for the most part. So Gyu gives him like a crow, a mouth of the crow. That's what we call the communicators because they're not actually using animals. And
oh, like drones.
I just imagine some dude walking around. Caw, caw.
That could be like the secret like passcode to any allies of the Slayers, like the Fuji family, the Wisteria house. Like it could be like you need like a crow, a mouth of the crow brace, like a watch or communication device, and the password is a crow's
Or is
call.
this like it could be like a Blood or Crips kind of like hand signal where you just kind of like make a crow or something?
Yeah, something like that. It's a shadow puppet crow. Something like that. But yeah. Okay, so that we have that, and then he gets sent to Urokodaki. But Urokodaki is like not just a veteran demon slayer, but he is he's probably
Beware of an old man in the field where young men die young. I mean, men die young. Sorry.
No, he goes to one of the suburbs of the city where he has to find Urokodaki. And in a he has to look through alleys. He has to look through like narrow like alleyways, if anything, and houses, abandoned places, because he has to search for this guy. And he's following his communicator, and then he gets attacked by a demon, like let's say outside of an old abandoned bar, and then Urokodaki comes to find. It's like I tracked you through your communicator, so you're the one Giyu sent. Like Giyu, like if anything, like,
okay.
I would assume Giyu would have been able to tell, like Urokodaki, like I'm sending someone over to you.
I feel like if we're not doing demons and slayers, though, I feel like those roles of demons and slayers can be a little more muted, if you will. Like it doesn't have to, be clear cut. These are the good guys, these are the bad guys, kind of things. It can be like, the demons could just be as simple as like gang members and shit. Like it doesn't have to be so
Well, we could say
blatant,
that.
like.
Well, let's.
And like people like the Rokodaki could literally just be people living in the suburbs. Like you wouldn't even know because he's retired.
Well, the thing is
And
that
then if you walk into his fucking basement, it's like computer servers up the wazoo.
He's like Aunt May in like the Spider-Verse.
I would think, I would think that as opposed to it, like, because we assume that Muzan has used medical technology to basically protect himself from the sun. So even like using a special protective film covering, if you will. So Muzan is functionally immortal. So we could just say that Muzan has achieved his goal to an extent, but is trying to root out the demon slayers who are still pestering him. So demons are more widespread, but they mask themselves. So like Muzan gives some permission for people to turn without him having to deal with everything, because it's like I already control the city and everything for the most part, aside from these few hidden pockets of resistance. So I can clearly just start making more of it. It's more or less of a cruel. So there could be demons who have never even met Muzan, but have just been turned in general.
Yeah.
Like I would feel.
So we are still doing like demons, because I wasn't sure if like they were demons or if they were people.
No, we were doing demons for the most part, but the thing is, like, we made it so that they're demons. When we say demons, it's a term for the fact that Muzan is like a biological mutant, if you will, and then using medical science and the futuristic cyberpunk technologies has managed to spread his affliction, doing different things. So I mean, at least that's what we said in the last one. It was also like maybe from like going forward from the Tai show into it, and then eventually for whatever reincarnation shenanigans, and then it ended up like that. But I think we agreed on the fact that it just happened to take place in the cyberpunk area. I could be wrong though. Don't hold this to me, viewers. Don't hold it to me.
Yep, don't hold it to him.
Hold it to Sparta. Screw Sparta.
Hey, what? What the fuck, man?
This is because of last
Guys,
time when you weren't here
it's
and you were
not
playing Cards
Sparta's
Against
fault.
Humanity.
Oh my god.
That's some good goddamn cards.
I get it. But it's just DCC getting the last bit of it out. So, okay, now we've established this Tanjiro meeting Orokodaki. So what other events in the manga do we think we would want to see play out in a cyberpunk universe, excluding like the final battle, if you will? Like final selection, like the training arc, the blacksmith arc. Like, is there anything you guys think would be
the train.
So wait,
the train.
What if we do the swamp demon? But the swamp demon is like 3 dudes who are kind of like almost Grey Goo-like, where they're so integrated with nanobots that they can literally flow in and out of each other and enter surfaces through the smallest cracks.
How about this? They're like they're like half machine, half like biology. Like you could say,
they're
like
cyborg.
we could say something along the lines of that. Maybe this particular demon never met Muzan, but was turned by a demon who had, like like in the imagine of like a hierarchical thing, and then the person who turned him wanted to experiment and said, like, let's make you part more machine than biology, than man, if you will. So his true form is a bunch of nanobots that act collectively and is like that contain pieces of his flesh for the most part. And then as a result, he has fluidity as the result. And then he can like literally flow in through and stuff because he can like bring them down to those tiny sizes, if you will.
Yeah.
I just thought about a fact. If Muzan took over the city, he could make it one of those cities where it's like you don't even fucking see the sun because they have shit built so high it literally blocks out the sun.
Oh.
Oh shit. You're not wrong.
So you mean like Hong Kong? I mean, just kidding. I know. I have nothing against Hong Kong. It's just that when I went there to visit, it like the buildings were so freaking tall though. Like I can't even. No, they're so tall. Like they're so tall. Like oh my god. But yeah. That was my impression.
I think in one of the Deus Ex games, there was literally a place where, like, there was a city, and then there was a city built on top of it that literally blocked out the sun.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. This was Kowloon Walled City. You ever hear of it?
Oh,
Yeah,
Kowloon?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Kowloon.
That's
basically.
even Cantonese.
No,
Or
Kowloon.
is it?
For those
I'm
of you who
sorry.
are unfamiliar, Kowloon played a big role in the development of the cyberpunk genre because that's where Blade Runner was partially filmed. What happened? What
Oh.
happened was is that a bunch of people, refugees during the China Civil War, they built shacks upon shacks till eventually it became yeah, exactly, as Sparta showed in the chat
Yeah,
right
that
there.
one.
And
Mhm.
eventually there were parts of the city where you basically were in darkness the entirety of the time. So there was crime in there. There was literally there could be like a gangster's hideout right next to a doctor or next to a doctor's office or like a pre-elementary school. No joke. Of course, it was bulldozed because it was causing a lot of land and security problems. But this is the city that helped inspire the whole cyberpunk genre.
Yeah, I've heard of that before. I've heard the story of that.
Also, I feel like a gang hideout right next to a doctor's office is just great business.
Yes, very much so. They're in cahoots. The triads were very, very active in there. I
So
will
what
say
made
though, see, on top of that, I will say that let's say Muzan could block out the sun, but Muzan has technology so that he doesn't have to technically block out the sun more than it is the UV rays, if you will. He can let invisible light. All right, we can assume that, or we can probably make that into the lore. So, and Muzan wanted to be able to walk under the sun for the longest time. So my theory is he's achieved his goal using technology. Why would he want to block out the sun regardless? Because that would just basically be admitting he hasn't won already. I don't think his ego would have allowed it.
Yeah, and we all know his biggest weakness is that fucking ego of his. What a dick.
Yeah, no, but I think we can do that to make it so that he hasn't done that just because he's like, I already conquered the sun. I don't need to fear it, like out of his ego, his self serving ego.
Get on my level, bitch! I conquered the sun.
No, you didn't.
one of the reasons why Walled City? Wait, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Sparta.
One of the reasons Walled City was basically anarchy was because it was in a weird legal position where it was like it was inside Hong Kong, but it wasn't British because of some weird some weird treaty stuff that happened years ago.
I know what that is. Technically, Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Technically, when the British ruled Hong Kong, it was the Hong Kong Island and then the outer territories.
Mhm.
Because they had to get land in two treaties. Apparently, the one about Hong Kong technically was absorbed into the second one, but as a result, the land on where Kowloon was built didn't technically qualify for that. So literally, it became anarchy in the triads, and organized crime took over.
Yeah, because obviously the British police couldn't go in there because it wasn't their territory,
and it wasn't
and
safe.
And the Chinese police weren't going in there because they had to travel through British Hong Kong to get there.
And plus, considering the Dark City and the fact that they didn't want to, and the fact that no one wanted to get in there where it was anarchy and people were just going to look at you funny because they knew you weren't a local.
By the 80s, however, there were police raids by the late 70s though.
And then they demolished it. But yeah. Anyway, back to Cyberpunk. So, okay, so now you guys got a bit of a background on the whole Cyberpunk thing. Sorry or not sorry, but anyway. So we established the idea of Muzan the Sun, etc. So what other events were we trying to talk about? You know what the train arc we were going into. So do we think it's because the thing is would it be like bullet train speeds? So there would have to be a reason for things going on. Like what if there was like a satellite portion to somewhere and then the train was going there? Because there has to be a reason why.
Oh.
Like, why not do the space elevator thing or something? I don't know.
Oh, because trains are cool.
And we could say, like, the train was traveling to a satellite, a separate satellite of the city, you will. Like, where certain districts are held. Like maybe nuclear power or something. I don't know. And
like the red light district.
Yeah, and then the trains would have to go, and then the train would go there, and then the Tanjiro, Sasuke, Zenitsu, Rengoku, whatever, they're all there. So, what do we think was going to happen on the train? It's nighttime, obviously, and then Enmu shows up. What do you think his power would be on the train? Because
psychedelic. He sprays psychedelic. gases into the train, and everyone starts hallucinating because they're high.
How about this? What if his he also has he has cyber modifications. Like we could say like he's the one who cyber modified the swamp demons. And let's say his biology blood art, if you will, is to cause the hallucinations, but his technological implants allow him to morph the train around him.
Okay. Oh, okay. So he has two powers in one body.
Mm-hmm.
But one is with technology because he can use the technology to hack into the train system and use it to augment himself. Like if you can imagine, like the train responding to his will. So it kind of fits with the fact that he merged with the train in canon.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yes, yes.
So then that would occur, and then as a result, like everyone's hallucinating. But do we think the Demon Slayers would have masks for that? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wear masks to avoid corona.
Oh, I'm waiting to get my vaccine. That's all I really want. And things will be better. But anyway, so we have that going on. And then what I'm thinking is the train doesn't necessarily derail more than it is the Slayers manage to evict Enmu from the train. And then he basically just falls and like just gets crushed on the rails as the train is speeding by because he's not merged with it.
Ooh.
The train ends up getting to where it has to go, but then we have Akaza show up, like at the end of it. And then to demonstrate his power, we could say like the fight between him and Kyojuro basically makes a giant hole in the middle of the satellite city where everything's going on.
Okay, fair. Fair. I said fair.
If we have the train going right up to Akaza, can we just have Akaza fucking body the train? Just punch right into it?
Yes! Let's do it.
No, the train stops because Akaza stopped it. And then they're like, wait, we're still... Like, he literally just gets on the track, just puts his hand out, and then it just stops upon impact to it. And then causes, like, the giant whiplash effect.
Yes, and then, like, Kyojiro's like, kids, let me handle this. So it's like that part in JoJo where, like, JoJo's, like, Dio's like, oh, you're approaching me.
Well, I can't beat the shit out of you if I don't.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good.
So he walks over like that, and then he gets the shit beaten out of him. Well, not the shit beaten out of him. Kyojiro's gonna have some cool moments, but like, you know. He is not gonna he's not gonna survive. Well, or will he? Will he survive and get his consciousness or will he get his consciousness uploaded onto the cloud? We'll see about that.
Turned into a demon and put into a demon body.
Bro.
Well, an android body, if any, if we're assuming that the server is private still. No, I have an idea. What if the server maintenance is being done by the digital recreations of the Slayers who've passed on? So technically the Slayers don't even have to worry about changing frequencies and servers. Like the Slayers the technically alive, technically dead Slayers do it themselves.
So Kane does it?
She has the brain power to do it.
Yeah, she does. Masach. I was gonna say Murata.
Masachika.
Masachika.
Masachika, not Masa.
Masachika.
Masachika. Masachika.
Masachika.
Masachika could be the Japanese pronunciation, right?
It's Masa. It's Masachika. So
I say masa like the grain.
Masachika.
I mean, not the grain, the corn flour.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, we could have them doing that. So then Kyojiro ends up in the cloud at some point, and then they have to, and like that could be part of the final battle. Like the at the final battle, all the Slayers, like in android bodies, like the Hashi at the very least, like come out for the final battle, if you will.
Yep.
Yeah.
But okay, so moving on, like in terms, here's something I want to know: Snecked.
Yep.
How would Gyome's introduction to the corpse play out?
Oh fuck! I have actually come up with this idea, but it's so ridiculous.
This is Cyberpunk.
You guys,
hit us with it.
you guys want to hear it?
It's Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is the epitome of ridiculousness in technology.
Yeah. So like Gyomi, he was experimented on when he was like young, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's like, oh yeah, I'm a young adult now. I have like 9 kids. I'm living my best productive life. But then he like the demon attacks one day and he manages to punch it to death. And then like he what's this? He punches it to death, but then it like kills his kids, but it doesn't kill them immediately. They're bleeding out. So after he punches it to death, he calls like emergency services. If they have emergency services, are we gonna assume
heavily armed emergency services?
Okay, he calls emergency services and he tries to stop the bleeding, but because it's not it doesn't stop. He decides to like do something crazy and start uploading their consciousnesses onto the cloud. And then like I don't want him to get framed immediately. I have a better idea. So when like, are there police stations?
Well, when you say police, there technically are, but then there's the whole idea of there are corporate militias, there are gangs, there are like private security companies. So when you say police, it's like, yeah, it's a bit of a gray. It's a bit of a gray area who's providing the security in the city.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying like for like legal stuff, like
technically
interrogating witnesses and stuff. Like
technically there is a police, but at the same time, I think they would defer to corporate interests if they were around. So basically, since Muzan controls a bunch of the corporations, they would answer to him. So this would have to be something along the lines of Yome is like not affiliated with the corporations or nothing. So then the actual police end up in play.
Yeah. So like, gets taken to the police station. And at first it seems like everything's going fine. But then all of a sudden, like, when he's in the waiting room, a bunch of, like, cops come in and, like, open guns at him and tell him to get onto the ground. So it turns out, Sayo was interrogated and, like, apparently she gave the testimony that he killed everyone. But I kind of want to make this like kind of a like, you know, it's not like a very genuine interrogation.
So basically, they frame
like a forced interrogation. They made her say that.
What if?
Yeah, they made her say that.
You know, what I was gonna say, like, what if they didn't even make her say it? What if the police just wanted to get some cred over the corporate interests? So then they basically digitally made it so that Sayo looked like she was confessing that Gyome did it.
Yeah, and then like I got this other like crazy idea, where like, and then they're like, "Oh, you're arrested," but Sayo gets sent. Like she gets like sent off to this other corporation to be a test subject. Well, actually, in Gyome's perspective, she quote unquote goes missing, or quote unquote like I don't know. And then like he's like after Ubiyashiki saves him from being like executed and stuff, after he's been framed, and he's like, so he spends like 14. Sorry, he spends like 10 years searching for like kind of news of her, cause like they did not tell him anything after they like took her away. So he's been like kind of like doing some detective work, and like yeah.
Okay, so I was gonna say along the lines of that he was doing that as a side thing, but the police were going to, or rather, the police were going to have him executed for because it's the cyberpunk. But let's say that
Yeah.
Kagaya, like division, if you will, corporation, because as we established in the
Mhm.
last episode, they intervened. So on paper, he is technically dead, but he is alive as a
Yeah.
slayer. So we could say that, like to give the police whatever.
Yeah.
But Gilmay
Yeah.
himself doesn't. As a result, that gives him trust issues with everything, that even outside the Demon Slayer Corps, he has very bad
Yeah.
trust issues.
Yeah,
He's like, fuck the police.
Mm-hmm. How many people have said that? I wonder.
But I want to give him this like pretty epic fight scene at the like, I don't know, when he finally gets a hold of like where she is. You better get ready for some Liam Neeson shit.
All right. All right. So we delve. So that's Gyome's origin. Sparta, what do you
Yeah.
think should be an event from the manga that we adapt to Cyberpunk? Like, what do you think has potential, or what do you want to see?
Well, aside from the final battle, obviously, maybe something following the red light district.
Ooh,
Oof,
spicy.
We're going to. That means they're going after Daki and Gyutaro's headhunting then. So
Yep.
okay, so let's think of it this way. Uzui, Tanjiro, everyone's going in, right?
Yes.
So what do we? Well, let's say that the red light district it's not just one, but it's a bunch of them. Like they're spread all over the city because it's cyberpunk, right? And then you have the underground brothels, if you will, like the ones which are too dirty for even the top side to do. So
yeah.
we could incorporate that that the boys are in a different city, or like different cities, if you will, and then we are at the other parts of the city, different sections, like different satellite areas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what could happen after that, at least what I'm thinking, is that each one gets sent to a different place because that's where the
With a different fetish. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. Hey,
Like,
it's cyberpunk. Everyone has different.
One
There's
is like
tons of
one
different
is like
fetishes.
cat boys, and another is like
I don't know. They don't even have to pretend to be girls if you want to go that way.
I mean, yeah, because it's like a modern setting, right? I'm pretty sure, like, even though there's all this like corruption and dirty work, like they're more inclusive, right?
No,
Right?
we could say that some of them don't even have to pretend to be girls, or some of them don't even have to pretend to be boys.
They just have to pretend to be
something
workers.
Yeah. Of course, how they worm their way out of what's happening in there. That's something we best leave undiscussed. But anyway, nothing else happens. So I'm thinking that between each of the different like districts where they have the concentration of the red light stuff, there's a secret underground complexes where like they do except spreading all across the city, and they thought there was abandoned, and then that's where Daki and Gyutaro are using as their like main hub, if you will.
Yep.
So then, as a result, the entire fight becomes a three-way battle between, like, if you can imagine, like a triangle underneath the city, and then there's like different stuff, and then as they're fighting, they're just causing like the top side to tremor and quake, and then it becomes, instead of just having a one city thing, it's being like it goes from being chased to chasing as they basically wreak havoc across the city. Like we could say like Tanjiro meets Daki in city A, and then Daki has to run to city B, but in the process they're like literally just roof jumping, if you will. So like something from so something from like what's that game what's that game where you're running on
Subway Surfer?
No, it was something else. They made a remake of it a few years ago. I can't remember. Like it was a female runner or something. I can't remember.
Jungle Run?
No, that's not it.
Temple Run.
No, definitely not. It was an
Temple
Asian.
Run.
It was like an Asian female lead who's basically parkouring across like this city or whatnot. It's something with glass.
I do
something
not
with glass.
know
It's
of
something
that.
with glass. I don't remember what it's called. But anyway, so I'm just for those of you who know what I'm talking about, you'll understand it. If any of you find it, then yeah, just put it in the comments or tell me. But anyway, so that's happening, and then Uzui is like working is working as well. Like it just becomes like it can spread. Like I think the idea of the fight can spread between like it's not just in the red light district. Like it goes onto like we could say in a homage to the Enmu thing. It goes onto a train that's traveling in a ring around the city. Then it goes to like the water and travels on a boat, something like that. Because like we could say that then this arc, which lets us see like the different areas, the red lights, because it's so widespread, it allows they have to travel between different areas while chasing and then being chased. It becomes like a game of a cat and mouse where the city is the problem, and it shows off the different areas around the city.
Oh, that's cool.
If that makes any sense. So like one moment you're like fighting on a train, they jump down onto this flying car, like police car, and then they're just being chased around and then jumping from building to building and fighting at the same time. And then like in the meantime, like the different security places are just starting to mobilize and it becomes like a giant who's doing what and where's what. So then it becomes like it just snowballs.
So just like the actual red light district.
Basically. No, but basically, I'm thinking the unanticipated consequence is that they start up a couple of gang wars because people are accusing each other of causing the problem of the destruction.
Oh my god!
Oh dear.
So like they're fighting way across the city, and then you have one gang's like, "Hey, you destroyed me!" I'm like, "No, you destroyed us!" And then and basically the next few weeks, like those Uzui and everyone else who's gotten out of it, those who've come out of it alive are getting reprimanded because now they've caused the city to fall into more chaos than it was. Because they couldn't keep it to one area. And
that's just Uzui for you.
Well, I mean, that would also give impetus to Muzan to mobilize the upper ranks, if you will, a bit more. Because he's like, my city is literally burning. What the hell is wrong with you guys?
Paris is burning.
The world is burning. Oh no. And in real life.
It's a pretty lit documentary, by the way, Paris is burning. But enough about that.
All right, so
yes.
All right, so what do you? Okay, so have any of you heard of the idea of the digital consciousness and plugging in through cyberpunk, like physically connecting your nervous system to?
I've heard of the double consciousness from Freud.
So it's nothing to do with cyberpunk. There's nothing to do with Freud. I'm talking about like, the thing from Avatar where you link nervous systems.
Yeah.
Like imagine
they have that. I forgot.
In Avatar the movie, not Avatar the Last Airbender.
The movie. Oh.
Blue Alien Avatar.
James Cameron.
It was like where in the Last Airbender that they have the linking nervous systems thing.
Okay, so moving on. Now that we've established that, like, what if you could do that I'm assuming you can do that into a computer, right? So one thing that could happen is there could be missions where you're not even leaving physically in the real world somewhere, but you're plugging into the online net and you're having to chase an avatar of a demon down or whatnot.
Okay.
So it's like fighting without part of the risk. So it's like deep diving into the internet, if anything, like in Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Oh God, no. That could go wrong so many ways.
You weren't wrong about that, Snacked.
Yeah, you're trying to find your way, and it's just like the internet of where you're diving into, and people dive into in the cyberpunk world. It's even more screwed up than that world outside.
Like QAnon. Oh my God.
There's a QAnon district. There's a Trump district. There's a Biden district. There's just whatever. And then there's the underground dark web, which is where I'm not gonna go. Like as Ralph realized, he should not have gone. Just as Ralph realized he should not have gone. We're not gonna go. And hell, could even be a Breath of Fiction district.
Oh my God.
If we ever
That's really meta.
Please.
There's the Wattpad district.
Oh,
which somehow was scarier than
God.
all of these combined.
Oh no.
I don't know.
No.
There's the Popiku district. Basically, if you know what that is.
Oh no.
Do you know what that is or no?
Hoi Piku?
Yeah.
I've seen people like post the links to that on Twitter.
It's like the
And I've
Japanese
used it
edition to
sometimes.
Twitter. Yeah, but the thing
Yeah.
is, most Japanese authors post like stuff there when they want to do hentai
Porn.
stuff. Yeah, they mostly post their
Porn.
hentai stuff in there.
Yeah, they post porn there.
Basically, there's districts for every single thing in there, so it's even more chaotic as it is. And like, there could be like the warning, like some slayers have gotten lost in there and never found their way out, even though we know they're still
Oh
alive.
my god! Imagine like one Slayer being like, Harry Styles.
What? No, here's something. What if Masachika is
no.
not dead, but as a result, he
got sucked into Wattpad.
Somewhere he got lost in the Internet of Things and he was running. So now now his body is just like a husk as he's plugged into the internet because his real consciousness can't find his way home. And then
No.
Hey, at least he's alive. Sanemi didn't get to do that in canon.
True. That's true.
But anyway, like that could be a thing. So what? And now let's think about it. Okay, so I think we've put on. What do we think the blacksmith arc would be? Because honestly, it would be. I think that there wouldn't be a village or anything because it would be so too concentrated. You get what I mean? Like there's.
Oh, what about it's online?
Well, everything is online. Like elaborate a bit.
Okay. Not online, but like, what if there is a kind of blacksmith, like quote unquote black market?
Online, when you meet stuff.
No, not online. In real life, underground.
Oh, well, you know what? It could also be that maybe they exist out in the Badlands, away from the city in general.
Yeah, and like Kagaya sources all of his like stuff from there. Or like he doesn't even source it, but like they're like kind of these legendary like engineers that are apparently super good. But no one has ventured out into the Badlands to actually meet them.
Okay, so there's a secret. They're working with Kagaya, but it's a secret for the most part.
Yeah.
All right. So then let me think. Okay, so if there are secrets, then what do we do about the Hot Spring Blacksmith arc? Like, what if
Hot Spring?
No, like because we have the blacksmith village arc. Remember where they defeat Hantengu and Gyoko.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have an idea. What if the blacksmiths are always moving, like once a week, because they can and they have different things? Okay,
like the Moving Cities one.
Kind of, yeah. And what if the Tanjiro needs to get a new weapon, but he wants how about this? What if Tanjiro is getting a new weapon based off of something that Tamayo gave him, like or whatever? Okay, like a biological.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's say Tamayo gave some biological information, and now every Slayer is trying to get some biological interface, right? So they need to go. So they need to go to the they have at some point every Slayer needs to go visit the blacksmiths directly, and then they have to go find it. So it just happens to be Tanjiro's, Nezuko's, like Mitsuri's and Obanai's turns, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And we could say that we could say that this time, at least for this week or whatever they're at the week that they have to go, they're at like the beach area nearby, like near the water. They're near the water, if you will. I'm just saying that so that we have the idea of like this is where Gyoko comes in because he's like the water demon user. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you have Hantengu showing up, who's splitting off into himself. So there could be something along those lines that they end up there, and then the action takes place from there. And then as a result, because the idea is that there's more problems. Hold on. That's the trucks with the snow plowers. Sorry about that. I was wondering. I was wondering like what the hell is happening, and then I realized it's snowing.
Music first.
And then I remembered it's snowing right now.
Oh yeah, it snowed really hard where I live too.
But you're out west though. We're still here in New York.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so where was I? Okay, so what you know how I said like there's the after effects of the chase around the city causing problems? What if the after effect this time is they sink some of the man-made islands out in the ocean and they
Uh-oh.
cause like a quake that causes like a mini tsunami somewhere.
Oh my god.
Demons don't care.
God damn it. Ooh, no, wait. Oh, you mean like with the
The demons,
Swordsmith arc?
yeah, no, like because the thing is they would be by the water. I'm thinking or somewhere.
Yeah.
And then like the idea is like whatever the Slayers do because it's cyberpunk, there's going to be repercussions outside what's going on.
Oh my god.
So how does this work? And so like let's say they're by the water, they basically just ruin the coastal industry with their destruction, and then they sink a few of the islands. So like imagine like the oil refinery area, it just gets sunk into the ocean somewhere out there.
Oh my god. Eee, they solved global warming.
Well, I mean, the global warming was already done. When I say oil refine, I mean they refine oil that they still have, but also they make new oil from the carbon dioxide they take into the air.
Hmm.
But, anyways, I'm thinking that could be possible.
Oh yeah.
All right, so, and what if, and in hot springs, like, let's see. You know what? No, that would be the beach. That's why I said that, because there wouldn't be a hot spring in the city, probably. So then what else?
Yeah, you're right. I was thinking of a bathhouse, which is different.
Okay. No, that's a Sentinel. But anyway, why don't we move on to the final arc? How about that? Okay, so here's a setup. The final arc is about to happen, etc., etc. For one reason or another, Muzan, because as we established last time, Muzan, Kokushibo, like the whole demon, like trying to trick the Slayers, and like the whole Muzan controls the city. That's been found out. So now it's literally a war. It's going to be a war front. Literally, the entire city is going to be fighting in a giant war. Okay.
Oh my god.
So I had an idea. What if instead of the Infinity Fortress, we have the Infinity Flying Fortress, which is basically they assault Muzan's like Black Tower, if you will, but then the tower
Ariel.
no,
Okay.
the entire
And then
no. Here's listen. Hear me out. Hear me out. The entire area underground and surrounding the tower, once the Slayers get in there, it just floats up into the sky because it's actually a giant aircraft carrier that literally flies into the air like we see in the Avengers. Imagine that.
So they have to try not to
They have to try not to fall. It's a big flying thing, but imagine like the Infinity Fortress. It's literally flying. And then on the ground, because it's a war for the city, like literally, you have a bunch of gangs going at each other with demons going at each other. And
Oh
then,
my god.
so basically, whatever happens, if anything, the city is never going to be the same again. And right now, and then like imagine that there's aerial combat because there's things in like transports flying up and to and from. So then you have Slayer transports like just fighting, like literally a 3-dimensional fight from the sky to the
Oh my
air to the
god.
ground. Like imagine.
That's insane.
It's cyberpunk. It's the definition of insane with technology. The difference is there can be because of technology.
Exactly. Instead of magic, it's technology.
You ever hear of that theory that apparently science becomes so advanced that it becomes akin to magic? There's a saying. There was some saying.
Yeah.
And that's true, basically.
I mean, according to Durkheim, science is
Snacked? Hello?
Snacked.
Oh no, she dropped. Oh no. We lost DCC and then we lost Snack. Oh. Snacked? You there? Hello? You can hear
I'm
me.
just yeah. No, actually no, that wasn't what he said.
Your mom yell at you again?
Me. What?
Your mom yell at you again?
No, my mom does not yell at me.
All right. Well, anyway, so I'm just imagining. So, like, what if we had this entire like as the situation's playing out, like you have like remember those pillars in Kokushibo's like area?
Yeah.
What if to like emphasize his like superiority and like his skill? Like his area is literally you have a giant room filled with pipes, metal pipes leaking and rising, but underneath it there's no floor. It's just literally free fall. So if you fall, you're either gonna land on something or you're gonna land on the ground, and you have to do the fighting while basically being like a giant acrobat, if you will.
Oh my god.
Can you imagine that?
Bro, I'm imagining just Gyomi in the fight being like swinging around with his weapon.
No, they're just fighting on top of like metal pipes that are extending over like a giant void leading to the ground below.
Oh my
And then as they
god.
slice and as they destroy things around them, along with Sanemi or whatever's going on. And like, hey, why don't we include like Robot Masachika for all intents and purposes?
Oh
Right?
my god.
Okay, he comes back for the
That's
final battle.
fucking insane.
But basically, the problem is like as they're destroying and trying to attack Kokushibo, they're destroying the ground underneath them, and it becomes smaller and smaller. So if you can imagine, like just like as you're destroying everything around, you have less room to move and run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that's fucking insane. Did that fight end up with like everyone just falling?
Well, I'm thinking that one like a Sparta, like I'm thinking that like Doma is in like the boiler room water filling area, right? So I'm just
All right, yeah,
imagining
yeah.
like during like his fight, there's an accident, and then like part of like literally from the outside, you just see a giant chunk of the flying fortress just get encased in ice because his power went berserk a little bit and froze the water
Uh-oh.
and
Oh my
exploded.
god.
That's not good.
No, but it's if you can imagine it, it's just like everyone's fighting on the ground. They're like, what the hell is going on up there? Like we need to get through, and then Kyria is just like, send in more troops, send in more slayers on our flying on our flying cars or ships or whatever.
Does this end with Shinobu surviving or dying?
I mean, we can technically Shinobu won't ever die with the technology thing. But,
Is Genya surviving or dying?
I mean, what do you guys think?
I want Genya to survive. I won't accept any other conclusion. My baby needs to survive.
Well, the thing is that this is being an epic thing, so we could say that maybe Genya ends up falling down, but he lives for whatever reason, or he could die. We don't know. But the thing is, like, one thing I'm thinking is that he ends up falling because of in Kokushiba's area because of the whole destruction that's going around, like down into the pit, down into like free fall down. And he has to like absorb impact.
No.
And he has to like absorb the impact or whatever or something that's going on.
Genya?
Yeah, but that's just a thought. You know what I mean? It could possibly just be
He could also like grow his tree and be like extendy dendy.
But would it be a tree though? Because we have technology as well.
Okay, but if you have Kokushibo get defeated by a tree, it'll be like symbolic or something.
Possibly. I mean, if it was a tree, it could be like it could be like some like interference. Is like he gets clocked in the head by like a tree or something. I don't know. Okay, but anyway, so what do you think would go on with Shinobu's end, Sparta?
I feel like she'd either fall off or freeze to death.
Oof. I mean,
assuming she dies.
There's too many what?
Assuming she still dies, she either falls off or freezes to death.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little bit grim.
Yeah.
It's realistic.
It's cyberpunk.
Okay, fine. She like gets, I don't know.
I'm just thinking that near the end of it, when Muzan near Muzan revives or whatever, the ship just starts descending and is about to crash down on the city nearby. So then there's like this.
Oh no.
So then the fighting continues, but takes place on a rubble below. If you can. So
yeah.
So like in the middle of the city,
it's gonna blow.
Like in the middle of the city, there's just this giant like crashed ship and a mountain of like scrap and metal and possibly working electronic systems. Who knows? And then like the Slayers are trying to get to it, but the demons are getting to it too. And who knows? It's just ending up to being a giant war fight, if you will.
A giant brawl.
Yeah. And then for whatever, and then Muzan. I'm thinking that the way that this ends is that Muzan, they managed to penetrate Muzan's outer protection, like outer protective shell, if you
Yeah.
will. And then as a result, he roasts. And then he's like, "Damn it! I should have built those coverings to cover the entire city in the freaking night." As his last words.
Roasted.
Yeah, he just gets roasted. Well, on two fronts by the Slayers who have basically killed him. Like, yeah, you should have made Night City Eternal Night, bitch. And then Muzan's like, damn it, I should have. Like, I should have actually covered the whole city in a dome, so I would never have this problem. And then this is the dirty ego, if you will.
Yeah.
Very
Look,
oof.
Big.
the great thing about Muzan is we can explain anything that he does wrong with his ego. It's so easy. Like, he makes it so easy for us.
He really does.
If he had a brain cell among those 5 brains of his, he would have done a lot of things differently.
Listen, his 5 brains all contain only Schwann cells, no neurons.
Exactly.
Yep.
They don't have any No, you know what they don't have? They don't have any hippocampi either. He can't learn.
Well, yeah, because he doesn't have any neurons.
No, even if even if he had neurons.
Schwann cells are in the peripheral nervous system.
No,
glial cells are like.
No, but even if he did, let's say he did have glial cells, as long as he doesn't have a hippocampus, he can't ever learn from just doing anything.
He doesn't even have a frontal lobe.
No, but that's the problem then. How is he so good at what he's doing? I just think maybe he just doesn't have a hippocampus. That's what I think now.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, that's fair.
So he can't even really learn that well, and that's why he ends up losing. Because like he can learn, but he doesn't do so well. You know, like he doesn't have that ability to integrate it into his brain, which is ironic.
Yeah, he can learn, but he has no common sense.
Which is ironic because technology could have solved that for him easily, but no, it's his ego.
Yep.
All right. Well, approaching the 1 hour mark, so I think we're almost time to wrap it up. But I think that was a successful second part of the Cyberpunk Au. I really do wish that now that we've talked about it, we get some fan art or we have some more Cyberpunk drawings online, like we showed last time.
Yep.
Like,
I was actually making something while we were doing this, but
Was
then
it
I turned out. No, I should have though.
Kenya is the cyberpunk. He's got the mohawk. And
Kenya he's the punk. He's just so punk. I love his aesthetic. Like he's such a beautiful little boy. Like, you know, I just love his mohawk and his like whole look. And like, oh my god, it's such an aesthetic, like
the fact that he's underage.
No, I'm saying he is designed well aesthetically. That has nothing to do with what you are talking about.
You simp for 3 people in general. Well, actually 4 people, and 2 of them are not 18.
I don't simp for Muichiro. I don't.
I know. I'm just joking.
I really don't. Okay.
But you know, I think that for the most part, Cyberpunk, like Demon Slayer, would be a lot more grayer as my final words on this.
Yeah.
Like, cause
yes, exactly.
It's not just about like demons versus slayers, good versus evil. We have the whole like this is a crime-ridden city, you know. So it's like, can slayers ignore crime-ridden city? Like, God forbid that they ignored Kanao with like just getting like child traffic for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they may have to just to keep the whole idea in the shadows. Like, imagine how much that must be weighing on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or like, fuck the police.
That's Gyome. You know, I just thought.
Dude, yeah.
What if Gyome's like final like attack was basically just a giant cyber like exoskeleton enhanced like Hulk smash as a result? He has, and then like he has an exoskeleton attached like near the final battle, and then he just like, smashes it down on like the battlefield near Muzan or like near where Upper Moon 1 is battling for whatever reason.
Like he just blasts Koku's head open.
Kind of, basically.
Pretty much.
At some point, and then they have to use like the whole demons and drugs kind of deal to just finally end the guy. But for whatever reason, that is what happened, and then he ends up just doing like yeeting, or ends up living using his power.
Mm.
But yeah, so I think that was successful. It's been enough. So thank you guys for sticking with us for this episode of The Breath of Fiction. Sorry we lost a couple people in the meantime. Hopefully GTCs will be here for the full duration when we get the next episode
Okay,
out.
I'm coming.
But anyways,
Sorry.
this guy. But
I'm gonna go
any last
stick my
words? Wait,
eyes
we're doing the outro.
into
Any last words, Snicked?
Yeah, I just yeah.
No? All right. Well.
Yeah, I just yeah.
But anyway, this has been us.
See you next time.
Yeah, so any last words, Sparta?
All right, Gabby.
Well, this has been very interesting, and I think this final battle is pretty epic.
It's on city level geographic scales. Yep, there she goes. But anyway.
All right, everyone, have a good night.
All right, so everyone, thanks again for joining, and hope to see you next time, and look forward to our role play because we're going to get to that soon. All right. So, but anyway, from The Breath of Fiction, this has been all of us. So, bye-bye.
Goodbye.